They wanted you to break. They waited for you to stumble, to lash out, to give them something they could twist into their story. But you gave them nothing. No excuses. No desperate explanations. Just silence. And in that silence, you said more than words ever could. You showed them you didn't need their validation, their approval, or their understanding to stand tall. You let them talk, let them try to pull you into the chaos, while you stood unshaken. People forget this silence is not weakness. It's strength disguised. It's the choice to control your energy instead of handing it away. It's knowing that the truth doesn't always need defending. Sometimes, the most powerful statement you can make is none at all. They will replay that moment in their heads. They will wonder what you were thinking. They will question if you even cared. And that quiet will echo louder than any argument. Because real strength doesn't need to be seen shouting from the rooftops. It exists in the calm after the storm, in the eyes that do not flinch, in the spirit that refuses to bend. You owe no one your peace. You owe no one your words. And if they can't understand the language of your silence, then your message was never meant for them. Your quiet was loud enough. And those who doubted you will hear it for the rest of their lives. They may tell the world their version of the story. They may twist the truth to make themselves the hero, to make you the villain. Let them. You don't need to interrupt a story that will eventually collapse under the weight of its own lies. Because deep down, they know. They felt it in the stillness you left behind. That unshakable calm was not surrender, it was victory. It was the refusal to be dragged into battles that do not deserve you. And here's the beauty of it: when you choose silence, you also choose freedom. You walk away from the endless cycle of defending, explaining, justifying. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You start to see how much noise there is in the world, how much of it is meaningless, and how little of it changes the truth. And when you live in truth, you don't have to prove it. It simply exists. One day, they will remember the moment you didn't respond. They will remember the look in your eyes, the way you carried yourself, the way you turned and walked away without a single word. And they will realize that was the moment they lost. Because silence is not empty. It is full of answers, full of clarity, full of power. And those who try to harm you will eventually hear it louder than any shout. Your quiet will be remembered. Your dignity will be felt. And long after the noise fades, you will still be standing. And as the days pass, you notice something strange. The quieter you become, the louder the world seems. People talk over each other, scrambling to be heard, to be right, to be noticed. And you simply watch. You see how desperation exposes the truth in people. How some will do anything to pull you into their chaos, because they can't stand to face themselves. Your silence becomes the mirror they cannot avoid, the mirror they secretly fear. But you are no longer interested in battles of ego. You are no longer pulled by the need to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. You have learned that not all connections are meant to last, and not all company is worth keeping. And so, you step back even further, not to isolate, but to protect what is rare. Your peace becomes your most valuable possession. You carry it with you into every room, every conversation, every moment. It's in the way you don't rush to fill the space when others stop talking. It's in the way you listen more than you speak. It's in the way your presence feels like a storm about to break quiet, but impossible to ignore. And slowly, you begin to see it, the shift. Those who once tested your boundaries begin to tread carefully. Those who once underestimated you now measure their words. They can't explain it, but they feel it, the weight of a person who does not need the approval of the room. You carry yourself like someone who already knows the ending to the story. Because you do. There comes a moment when you realize silence doesn't just protect you. It changes you. It sharpens you. It teaches you what most people will never learn, that patience is a weapon. Every time you chose not to react, you built a fortress inside yourself. Every time you refused to explain, you laid another brick. And now, without ever raising your voice, you stand taller than the ones who tried to pull you down. They feel it. In the way you look at them without flinching. In the way you never chase, never beg, never plead. You have become untouchable, not because you fought harder, but because you learned when not to fight at all. And the irony? The very people who thought your silence was weakness now mistake it for mystery. They want to know what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're hiding. But you give them nothing. And that nothing keeps them awake at night. Because silence has a gravity. It pulls at the mind, demands answers, creates questions where there are none. And the more they guess, the more they reveal themselves, not you. You watch as they trip over their own words, contradict their own stories, expose their own flaws. All while you remain steady, unmoved, calm in a way they cannot imitate, because calm cannot be faked, it can only be earned. And you earned it the hard way. By walking through storms without shouting at the clouds. By enduring betrayals without announcing your pain. By letting time, not your tongue, deliver the justice. And so, without lifting a hand, without raising your voice, you begin to win. Not in sudden, dramatic ways. Not with grand speeches or public victories. But quietly. In the slow erosion of their confidence. In the way their words begin to sound hollow even to themselves. In the way their allies start to drift away, sensing something they can't explain. You notice it in their eyes, how they no longer meet yours for long. How they speak faster, laugh louder, overcompensating for the unease your stillness brings. Your silence has become a weight on their conscience, heavier than any accusation you could have made. You start to see the truth. The storm they wished upon you has circled back to them. The chaos they tried to hand you is the chaos they now carry. And all you did was refuse to hold it. Time moves, and with it, the truth sharpens. Those who once called you cold now call you disciplined. Those who once mocked your restraint now envy your peace. They will never admit it, but they feel it, that you are beyond their reach. This is the justice that requires no courtroom, no judge, no jury. It is the kind of justice that unfolds in silence where the guilty sentence themselves. You didn't fight for the last word, you let them choke on it. And still, you walk on. Not to prove a point, but because you have better places to be than stuck in someone else's noise. Your life is moving forward, even as they stay behind, arguing with shadows. You never needed to crush them. They did that to themselves. All you had to do was nothing. And over time, the silence stops being a tactic, and becomes who you are. You no longer feel the pull to defend yourself against every false word, every twisting of your truth. You understand now that a life well lived is the loudest reply. That real strength is not proven in arguments. It is revealed in the peace you protect, the path you choose, the discipline you keep when no one is watching. You begin to see the world differently. You see how easily people trade their peace for the temporary satisfaction of being right. How quickly they give away their power just to win a moment, while losing the war within themselves. But you've tasted the freedom of walking away. You felt the weight lift when you stop explaining yourself to those who have already decided what to believe. You've learned that sometimes the most powerful move is not to move at all. And that's when your silence becomes more than an answer, it becomes a language. A language only the wise can understand. A language that says, I do not need to fight for what is already mine. I do not need to prove what time will reveal. Your quiet becomes your shield, your sword, and your sanctuary. It allows you to move through the world untouched by the noise, untangled from the battles that drain others. It gives you space to grow, to build, to create without having to announce your every step. And in that space, something happens. Your life starts to speak for itself. Your progress becomes the proof. Your peace becomes the evidence. Your very existence becomes the response they never expected. They will never say it out loud, but they'll know. They'll know they could not shake you, could not bend you, could not pull you into their storm. Because you were not playing their game. You were building something greater. And all along, your quiet was loud enough. And as the seasons change, you find yourself smiling more. Not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer feel the need to control everything. You have made peace with the fact that not everyone will understand you. And that's exactly how it should be. Those meant to walk beside you will feel your silence and respect it. Those who cannot will remove themselves. Either way, you win. You no longer seek the crowd's applause. Because you've learned that the loudest approval is the one you give yourself. You no longer burn energy trying to correct the wrong perceptions in people's minds. Because you understand that perception is their cage, not yours. And in this stillness, you grow. You grow in ways they cannot see. Your vision sharpens, your steps become deliberate. And your presence carries a different weight now. When you enter a room, you no longer need to announce yourself. People feel you before you speak. It's not arrogance. It's not pride. It's the quiet confidence that comes from mastering yourself. The kind of power that doesn't need to shout because it is written in how you carry your life. And the ones who once doubted you, they will remember the day you stopped explaining yourself. They will remember how their words bounced off you like stones thrown at a mountain. They will remember that you never came down to fight on their level, because you had already risen above it. And one day, they will hear that silence again, and realize it was never empty. It was full of everything they could not break in you. And as the years pass, the silence no longer feels like something you do. It feels like something you are. It moves with you, like a shadow in sunlight, present, unshakable, and always reminding you that peace is a choice you never regret. You notice the small things now, the wind brushing against your skin, the way light filters through the trees, the pause in a conversation where truth hangs heavier than words. You start to understand that life's most important moments are not loud, but still. The silence teaches you patience. It shows you that everything reveals itself in time, intentions, character, truth. And when those moments arrive, you won't need to speak to be understood. Your life, your actions, your presence will tell the story better than your voice ever could. And when people approach you now, they choose their words carefully. Not out of fear, but out of respect. They sense that you are not a battlefield for their ego. They sense that you cannot be provoked into smallness. You have built a different kind of power. One that cannot be taken, only surrendered. And you do not surrender it. Your silence is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of discipline. It is knowing that not all noise deserves a response. And that not every truth needs to be spoken to be real. One day, perhaps far in the future, those who once misread you will remember. They will remember your stillness, your restraint, your unwavering calm. And it will hit them that your quiet was never emptiness. It was full of self-respect, full of strength, full of everything they could not take from you. And long after their words have faded, your silence will still be speaking. And so you walk through life differently now. Not slower, not faster, but with an awareness that every step is deliberate. Conversations no longer pull you in like they used to. You hear the words, but you also hear what is behind them. Fear, pride, longing, insecurity. You let people speak without rushing to respond, and in that pause, they reveal themselves completely. You've learned that stillness is not about doing nothing. It is about doing only what matters. It is about conserving your energy for the moments that truly deserve you, and letting the rest pass by like leaves on a river. Your world has become clearer. The noise that once seemed overwhelming is now just background. You no longer chase explanations or apologies. You no longer look for closure in the mouths of those who could never give it. You close your own doors now, and you lock them gently, without bitterness. And in that quiet, you found space for things that once had no room. Ideas, dreams, peace, love. Not the kind of love that demands you speak, but the kind that understands you even when you don't. You've stopped proving yourself. Because every day you live this way, the proof grows on its own. It's in the steadiness of your breath. It's in the way you sleep at night without replaying old battles. It's in the way your life is no longer a reaction to others, but a creation of your own design. And still, the silence grows in power. It moves ahead of you like a tide, clearing paths, protecting you from storms that never need to reach you. It becomes a signal one the right people are drawn to, and the wrong people avoid. And perhaps this is the greatest justice of all. That without revenge, without conflict, without raising your voice, You have built a life that speaks louder than anything they could have imagined. And you keep walking. Not because the journey is easy, but because the road ahead is yours alone to take. And with every mile you walk in this silence, you discover a truth most people never touch. That the loudest victories are the ones no one sees. They won't see the nights you chose patience over anger. They won't see the mornings you woke up and refused to replay yesterday's wounds. They won't see the countless times you bit your tongue, not out of fear, but out of strength. What they will see is the person you have become because of it. A person unshaken by gossip, unmoved by provocation, unbothered by the need to prove a point. You've learned the art of letting people believe what they want, because you know the truth, and the truth doesn't need an audience. It's in the way you carry yourself now. Calm eyes, steady breath, grounded steps. It's in the way you choose your battles like a king chooses his wars, rarely, and only when necessary. It's in the way you leave behind those who live in chaos, without slamming the door, because you understand they will hear it close in the quiet that follows. And your silence, it travels. It reaches people long after you've left the room. In the spaces between their words. In the moments they ask themselves why they never got a reaction from you. What they don't understand is that you were never trying to win them. You were winning yourself. You were protecting the parts of you that noise can't touch. And that is why you have peace now. Because you stopped trading it for the illusion of being understood. Because you learned that those who matter will feel you, even in your quietest moments. And those who don't will fade away, leaving only the sound of their own voices, echoing into nothing. You don't chase them. You don't hate them. You simply move forward. And with each step, the silence grows louder, until it becomes the only language worth speaking. And as you move forward, you notice the air feels lighter. Not because the world has changed, but because you've stopped carrying the weight of proving yourself. You pass by the same kinds of people, the loud ones, the restless ones, the ones who need to be seen at all costs. But their noise doesn't reach you anymore. It's like you've built an invisible wall, and on your side, the air is still. This stillness has made you sharper. You read intentions in a glance. You see through false smiles and forced laughter. You know when someone's words are a shield for their fear, and when their anger is nothing but an echo of their own pain. And yet, you don't expose them. You let them reveal themselves in their own time. Because you understand now, truth delivered too early feels like an attack. But truth discovered alone changes everything. You've learned to wait. You've learned to watch. And you've learned that the world is in a constant rush to speak, while the wise are in no hurry at all. And maybe that's why your presence unsettles some people. Because they can't read someone who doesn't need to fill the silence. They can't predict someone who won't be pulled into their games. They can't control someone whose mind is anchored in something deeper than pride. You've become the kind of person who can walk away without leaving. Your absence is felt even when you're in the same room. Your quiet is not retreat, its presence distilled to its purest form. And with time, this silence becomes your greatest teacher. It teaches you that you are not here to match anyone's chaos. You are here to master your own peace. And so, you keep walking. Past the noise. Past the storms. Past the voices that demand an answer you will never give. Because you know now. The silence isn't empty. It's full of everything they were never ready to hear. And as the road stretches ahead, you realize the silence has become a kind of compass. It points you toward the things that matter, and away from the places that only drain you. You no longer react to every knock at your door, because you've learned that not every invitation is worth accepting, and not every battle is worth entering. You've stopped confusing urgency with importance. Now, you let life prove to you what is real, instead of rushing to label it yourself. People still try to pull you back into the noise. Some do it with charm, some with anger, some with guilt. But all of them have one thing in common. They want you to step into a space where they can control the conversation. You no longer step in. You stand where you are. And if they can't meet you in stillness, you simply watch them fade into the distance. And something unexpected happens. Those who once fed on chaos begin to respect your calm. They might never say it out loud, but in their own way, they start guarding their words around you. They feel the weight of someone who cannot be baited, who will not be rushed, who will not be moved by anything less than truth. It's not about winning anymore. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about protecting the life you are building. A life where your peace is not negotiable. And in protecting it, you found that your silence is not just a shield. It's a bridge. The right people cross it to reach you, and the wrong ones turn away. So you walk on, past the noise, past the games, past the places where your voice would have been wasted. And with each step, your silence grows heavier, until it is not just something you keep. It is something you are. And the more you live inside this quiet, the more you realize it has a rhythm. It's not empty space, it's a pulse, slow and steady, guiding you forward. You no longer measure your days by how much noise you've made. You measure them by how deeply you've stayed rooted in yourself. Some days you speak, but only when the words carry weight. Other days you say nothing at all, and somehow, those days speak the loudest. You notice the world tries to fill every gap. Music in every store, chatter in every street, notifications buzzing every second. It's as if everyone is terrified of hearing themselves think. But you are no longer afraid. You've faced your own mind in the quiet. And you found it to be a place you can live. And that makes you rare. People begin to sense it, the calm, the patience, the certainty in your movements. It unsettles some, intrigues others. Those who thrive on chaos can't stand it. Those who crave truth are drawn to it. You have stopped chasing both. You've learned that what is meant to find you will arrive without you shouting for it. And what is meant to leave will go no matter how tightly you hold on. The silence has made you lighter. It has stripped away the need for explanations, the urge to convince, the compulsion to be understood. You realize now that understanding is a gift, not a right. And not everyone has earned it. So you move, step after step. Not in a hurry, not in a race, but in alignment. You pass through storms without absorbing them. You walk past fires without feeding them. And every time you choose the quiet over the noise, you hear it more clearly. That voice inside you that says, "This is who you are now." And in this way, the silence becomes your companion. It walks beside you in crowded streets, sits with you in empty rooms, waits with you when life asks you to be patient. It no longer feels like restraint. It feels like power. The kind of power that doesn't have to announce itself, because it's written in the way you hold your ground. You begin to see that silence doesn't just protect you from the world. It protects the world from your unnecessary words. It saves you from scattering pieces of yourself where they don't belong. It allows you to preserve the rare and precious parts of your mind and heart, for the people and moments that deserve them. The more you live this way, the more you understand that noise is not communication. Most people talk to be heard, not to connect. But you've learned that connection lives in presence. And presence doesn't always need a sound. There's a discipline in this. The discipline to listen when others would speak. The discipline to wait when others would rush. The discipline to walk away when others would fight. And in that discipline, you've built a life that cannot be shaken by the opinions of strangers. Their approval feels small now. Their doubt feels weightless. You are no longer pulled by the tides of their emotions. You are anchored in your own. They will wonder why they can't reach you. They will wonder why their words no longer sting. And they will never realize. It's because you've stepped into a place they cannot follow. A place guarded by your silence. And here, in this stillness, you are free. And as the days turn into months, and the months into years, you find that your silence is no longer just a shield. It has become the essence of your being. People come to understand that with you, words are precious. Not tossed carelessly into the wind, but spoken with intention. carrying the weight of truth. Your silence teaches those around you patience, a rare gift in a world that prizes speed and noise. It invites them to slow down, to listen deeper, to respect the space between moments. And in this, you become a quiet beacon, a lighthouse standing firm against the storm, guiding those who seek calm in the chaos. You realize that the greatest strength is not in breaking others down, but in building yourself up, one silent step at a time, no longer tethered to the judgments of others. You are free to create, to grow, to love without reservation. Your silence speaks volumes, not in spite of its quiet, but because of it. And so you carry this silent justice forward, not as a weapon, but as a way of life, a testament to the power of stillness, the strength found in restraint, and the peace born from choosing to say nothing, when everything inside you could shout. Because sometimes, saying nothing means you've already said everything. And still, you walk on, always forward, always silent, always unbreakable. And with every silent step, you grow stronger, not in muscle or in loud declarations, but in the quiet knowing that your worth is not determined by the opinions thrown your way. You see how easily the world is swayed by noise, how quickly chaos becomes mistaken for progress. But you have learned to stand still amid the storm, to be the calm that others seek but cannot find. This calm is not weakness. It is not resignation. It is the fiercest form of courage, because it takes courage to remain unmoved when others demand a reaction. It takes strength to protect your peace when provoked. It takes wisdom to understand that some battles are won not by speaking, but by holding your silence like a shield. And in this silence, you find freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of conflict. Freedom from the need to justify yourself. Freedom from the weight of other people's expectations. You become a master of your own mind, a guardian of your own heart. You hold your silence not as a weapon against others, but as a gift to yourself, a space where you can breathe, where you can heal, where you can become whole. And in this space, you realize something profound. That silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of everything that truly matters. And as you move deeper into this silence, you begin to notice the subtle shifts inside yourself. The way your thoughts no longer race. The way your heart no longer clenches at every slight. The way your spirit feels lighter, even as the world around you spins in chaos. You learn to hold space for your own emotions without being overwhelmed. You honor your pain without needing to display it. You allow your joy to exist quietly, knowing it does not need an audience. This silence becomes a sanctuary, a place where you can return when the noise threatens to pull you under. It is the quiet breath between storms, the still lake beneath turbulent skies. And in this sanctuary, you find clarity. You see who you truly are beyond the judgments and expectations. You recognize the parts of yourself that were buried beneath the noise, the dreams you once silenced, the wisdom you ignored, the strength you forgot you had. Your silence is not emptiness. It is fullness, a fullness of presence, of understanding, of acceptance. And in this fullness, you find compassion. For yourself, for others, for the messy, noisy world that keeps rushing around you. You realize that everyone is fighting their own battles, carrying their own noise and pain. And your silence becomes an offering, not as a retreat, but as a beacon of peace they might one day seek. You do not rush to be understood. You do not scramble for attention. You simply are. And in simply being, you create a space where others can find rest. And so, you carry this silence with you everywhere. In the way you walk through a crowded room without needing to own it. In the way you sit with your own thoughts without running from them. In the way you look into the eyes of those who try to provoke you, and give them nothing to hold on to. It is in this nothing that your strength lives. It is in this nothing that your power grows. Because silence is not absence, it is control. It is choosing not to waste the pieces of yourself on places they will not be valued. It is knowing that your truth does not need defending, Because the truth stands whether or not it is spoken. You've stopped seeking to win every moment. Now you seek to win the long game. To protect your peace today so you can still have it tomorrow. To preserve your energy so you can spend it where it matters. To keep your dignity intact so you can sleep at night with no battles left unfinished inside you. The world will not understand this. They will mistake it for distance. They will call it indifference. But you know better. You know it is mastery. Mastery over your impulses. Mastery over your emotions. Mastery over the part of you that once gave in to every argument, every accusation, every demand for a reaction. Now, you simply let the waves crash against you. And you remain the shore. Unmoved, steady, certain of your place. And one day, without even realizing it, you will look back and see the storms you've walked through. And you will wonder how you survived them without breaking. And then you will remember. You didn't fight the storms. You let them pass. And in doing so, you outlasted them all. And as more storms pass, you notice something you never did before. The silence has given you vision. Where once you reacted to every shadow, now you wait to see if it's real. Where once you chased every answer, now you let the truth come to you. Where once you clung to people out of fear of losing them, now you understand that what is meant to stay will never need to be forced. This vision allows you to move differently. You step around conflict like a river flows around a rock. You walk through manipulation without it finding a way to cling to you. You can hear the intent behind words, and feel the weight behind actions. And yet, you do not confront everything you see. Not because you are afraid, but because you have learned that not every truth needs to be spoken by you. Some truths belong to time. Some truths must arrive in their own season, and forcing them only turns wisdom into noise. So you wait, and in your waiting, you grow even stronger. Your presence begins to carry something unexplainable, a quiet that others can feel in their bones. Some are comforted by it. Some are unsettled by it. But no one forgets it. You are no longer the person who must shout to be heard. You are the one who can stand in a room and say nothing, and still be the loudest voice there. This is the kind of power they cannot take from you, because it does not exist in their world of noise. It lives only in the stillness you have built inside yourself. And that stillness is unshakable. And in this unshakable stillness, you begin to realize that silence isn't just something you practice. It's something that reshapes you from the inside out. Your patience deepens. Your reactions slow. Your mind feels like a clear lake, reflecting everything, absorbing nothing. You no longer fear being misunderstood. You no longer fear being overlooked. Because you understand now. What is real does not require constant proof. What is yours will not pass you by. And what leaves was never meant to stay. The more you embrace this, the more you see how trapped others are in the need to be heard, to defend, to fight for ground that was never truly theirs. They pour their energy into battles that end in emptiness, while you keep yours, building something they can't even see yet. You've learned that time is your greatest ally. Time exposes lies. Time reveals intentions. Time clears the noise until only truth remains. And so you wait, not with impatience, but with quiet certainty. You let the world spin around you, while you keep your steps deliberate, your voice measured, your heart steady. And those who once doubted you, they start to notice. Not because you proved them wrong with words, but because you proved them wrong with your life. You never had to shout. You never had to demand. You never had to play their game. You simply lived. And in living, you became the proof. And the longer you live in this space, the more natural it feels. Silence is no longer a choice you have to make, it's simply your way of being. It wraps around you like armor, but it also opens around you like air. It keeps you safe from what would harm you. Yet it lets in the light that nourishes you. You've stopped chasing closure. You've stopped demanding fairness from those who cannot give it. You've stopped searching for validation in places that were never meant to see your worth. Instead, you've built a foundation within yourself. One that doesn't shift when opinions change. One that doesn't crack when tested. One that stands firm, not because it's untouched by life, but because it's rooted deeper than life's noise can reach. The people who once pulled you into arguments now find themselves speaking into empty space. Their words hang in the air with nowhere to land. They repeat themselves, hoping to provoke the reaction you no longer give. And when it doesn't come, they feel the weight of their own echo. This is the quiet justice the world rarely talks about. The justice of letting people sit with their own actions, their own words, their own truth, without you carrying any of it for them. And as you walk forward, you realize that this path, this silent, steady path, has taken you farther than noise ever could. Because silence doesn't just protect your peace. It builds it, day by day, step by step, until it is the ground you walk on. And once you've learned to walk on peace, you never return to chaos. And the farther you go, the more you see how rare this peace truly is. You watch the world rushing, colliding, spilling energy into battles that will not matter a month from now. You hear voices raised over things that change nothing. And you feel a quiet gratitude that you no longer live in that place. Your silence has become a border, a line no one crosses unless you allow them. It is not built from walls of anger, but from gates of discernment, opened for those who bring truth, closed to those who bring noise. You have learned that you are not required to receive everything sent your way. Not every word deserves your attention. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every person is meant to walk beside you. And the moment you accepted this, you became lighter. You began to move with intention instead of reaction. You stopped being pulled into storms and started walking toward horizons only you can see. People will still test your boundaries. They will still try to measure your patience. Still try to find the button that will make you break. But they will fail. Because that button no longer exists. You have become untouchable, not because nothing can hurt you, but because you choose what you allow inside. You guard your mind like a temple. You guard your heart like a treasure. And you guard your peace like the air you breathe. And with every day that passes, the silence grows stronger, until it is no longer just something you keep. It is something that keeps you. And as this silence keeps you, it begins to shape the way you see the world. You notice the smallest details, the hesitation in someone's voice before they speak, the way their eyes shift when they're hiding something, the tone that says more than their words ever could. You no longer just hear what people say. You hear what they don't say. You read the pauses. You feel the spaces between their sentences. This understanding gives you an advantage no volume could match. While others rush to answer, you wait. While they fight to be heard, you observe. And in that space, truth always reveals itself. You've stopped trying to change people who aren't ready to change. You've stopped pouring energy into proving yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You've stopped handing your peace over in exchange for temporary wins. Instead, you've chosen the long road, the one that demands patience, the one that requires self-control, the one that leads to a life you can live without regret. And when you do speak, your words land with the weight of someone who chose them, not someone who spilled them out to fill the silence. They cut through the noise like a single bell in the night. Clear, undeniable, unforgettable. Those who once dismissed your quiet now see it for what it is. Not weakness, but command. And still, you walk forward, leaving the noise behind you, carrying only what matters, speaking only when it's worth breaking the silence. Because you've learned the greatest truth of all. Sometimes, the loudest thing in the world is saying nothing. And as you keep walking, the world begins to realize that your silence isn't emptiness, it's depth. The ones who once underestimated you start to feel uneasy in your presence. Because they can no longer predict you. They can't pull you into their rhythm. They can't drag you into their noise. You have become a mirror they can't escape. When they speak, they hear themselves. When they push, they meet stillness. When they try to provoke, they face the quiet weight of your unshaken gaze. This unsettles some. It inspires others. But either way, it leaves a mark. Because in a world obsessed with speed, you've chosen patience. In a world addicted to reaction, you've chosen control. And in a world full of endless words, you've chosen the power of none. You now understand that silence is not the absence of communication. It is the purest form of it. It says, I will not engage on your terms. It says, my energy is mine to protect. It says, I see more than I speak, and I know more than I show. And in living this way, you've built something priceless. A life that moves at your pace. Relationships rooted in respect. A mind that is not a battlefield but a sanctuary. The storms still come. The noise still tries to creep in. But now, you meet it all the same way. With that steady, unshakable quiet that has carried you this far. And deep down, you know it will carry you even farther. And so, you keep moving forward, step by deliberate step, carrying that quiet like a flame shielded from the wind. Everywhere you go, you notice how the world tries to pull you back into its rush. The constant beeping of notifications. The pressure to respond instantly. The endless demand for opinions on things that don't touch your soul. But you no longer answer to that call. You've learned that not every sound deserves your ear. Not every request deserves your time. Not every open door deserves to be walked through. Your silence is not withdrawal, it's focus. You pour your energy into the few things that truly matter, watering the roots of your life instead of scattering it across barren ground. Some will call you distant. Some will say you've changed. You've traded the need to be everywhere for the strength to stand firmly somewhere. And in this stillness, strange things begin to happen. Opportunities that once slipped by now find their way to you. People who value peace find comfort in your presence. Conversations you do have carry more meaning because they're rare. Because they are chosen. You are no longer chasing life. Life is coming to meet you. And though you still speak when needed, you've realized the real magic is not in what you say, but in the space you leave between your words. It's in that space where truth gathers, where trust is built, where others feel seen without you having to declare it. Your silence has become a force, not because it's loud, but because it's unwavering. And quietly you know this is only the beginning. And as this beginning stretches on, you realize the road you've chosen has no finish line. Only deeper layers. Only wider horizons. Only a steadier sense of who you are becoming. Every day, you walk through the same world you once felt consumed by. But now it cannot reach you in the same way. The chaos still moves. But it moves around you. The noise still calls. But it no longer speaks your language. You've learned to listen differently. Not to the loudest voice in the room, but to the quiet pulse beneath it. Not to the urgency others impose, but to the rhythm of your own inner clock. There's power in that rhythm. It reminds you that you are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. And in this truth, you become untouchable. Not because the world can't strike you, but because its strikes no longer decide your path. Not because you're immune to pain, but because you no longer hand it the power to define you. The storms will always come. The winds will always try to pull you off course. But when you live in silence, you learn to anchor yourself so deeply that no current can drag you away. This is not escape. It is mastery. And mastery is quiet. So you keep walking. Not rushing. Not chasing. Not forcing. Just moving forward with the steady certainty of someone who knows that peace is the greatest victory of all. And somewhere in that stillness, you begin to feel free. You've come this far. Through the noise, through the storms, through the endless pull of the world trying to claim your attention, you've made it here. And if you felt something in these words, it's because a part of you has always known this truth. That you don't need to meet every voice with a louder voice. That you don't need to prove your worth to anyone who refuses to see it. That you don't need to give pieces of yourself away just to keep the peace with people who would never do the same for you. Your peace is not negotiable. Your energy is not endless. Your time is not disposable. And from this moment forward, you can choose to protect it. You can choose to let the storms pass without stepping into them. You can choose to let people reveal themselves without you holding the mirror for them. You can choose to walk away from battles that win nothing but exhaustion. Because real strength is not in how loudly you fight. It's in how gracefully you refuse to. And here's what I want you to remember. The people who are meant to stay in your life will not be driven away by your silence. They will respect it. They will honor it. They will meet you in it. And those who leave? They were never holding on to you, only to the version of you they could control. So, the choice is yours now. Do you keep running into fires that burn your spirit? Or do you step back, breathe, and protect the flame that lights your own path? If these words have touched something inside you, if you felt that quiet recognition that you are meant for more than chaos, then let this be the moment you draw the line. From today forward, speak when it matters. Act when it matters. Live in such a way that your silence speaks for you. Because in the end, they will remember two things about you: what you stood for and what you refused to stand for. Now, take this with you. Let it settle in your mind. Let it guide your choices. Let it be the reason you never go back to the noise you've outgrown. If you've been here, listening, feeling, seeing yourself in these words, don't just close this and walk away unchanged. Do something with it. Carry it into your next conversation, your next decision, your next moment of choosing between reaction and control. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, subscribe, stay connected, and let's keep building this piece together. Because this is only the beginning of what you're capable of. If this spoke to you, don't just keep it in your head, live it. Carry this quiet strength into tomorrow. Make choices that protect your peace. Walk away from noise that doesn't serve you. And if you felt that pull in your chest, if you know this is the way you want to live, then stay here with me. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it. Let these words ripple out to people still lost in the noise. Because the world doesn't just need more voices. It needs more people willing to be still. It needs more people who live by example, not just by sound. So join me here. Every word I speak is for those building that unshakable life. And if you're ready for that, you've already found your place. If this spoke to you, don't just keep it in your head, live it. Carry this quiet strength into tomorrow. Make choices that protect your peace. Walk away from noise that doesn't serve you. And if you felt that pull in your chest, if you know this is the way you want to live, then stay here with me. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it. Let these words ripple out to people still lost in the noise. Because the world doesn't just need more voices. It needs more people willing to be still. It needs more people who live by example, not just by sound. So join me here. Every word I speak is for those building that unshakable life. And if you're ready for that, you've already found your place. You've made it here. Through all the noise. Through all the storms. Through every pull from the world that tried to drag you back into its chaos. You've arrived at this moment. And if these words have felt like they were meant for you, it's because they are. Somewhere deep down, you've always known. You don't need to meet every voice with a louder voice. You don't need to fight every battle offered to you. You don't need to give your peace away just to prove you're strong enough to live without it. Your peace is not weakness. It's not retreat. It's your greatest weapon. From this moment forward, you can choose to protect it. You can choose to let storms pass without stepping into them. You can choose to let people reveal themselves without you holding the mirror. You can choose to walk away from noise that wins nothing but your exhaustion. Because real strength is not in how hard you push. It's in how firmly you stand. And the people who are meant to stay in your life, they will respect that stillness. They will meet you there. They will not demand you break your own peace to keep them comfortable. The ones who leave, they were never holding on to you, only to the version of you they could control. So choose now. Do you keep burning yourself in fires that were never yours to put out? Or do you protect the flame that lights your own way? If these words have touched something in you, if you felt that quiet recognition that you are meant for more than chaos, then let this be the moment you draw the line. From today forward, speak when it matters. Act when it matters. Live in such a way that your silence speaks for you. Because in the end, they will remember two things about you: what you stood for and what you refused to stand for. So take this with you. Let it settle in your mind. Let it guide your next choice. Let it be the reason you never go back to the noise you've outgrown. And now, if you've been here, listening, feeling, seeing yourself in these words, don't just close this and walk away unchanged. Carry this quiet into tomorrow. Make choices that guard your peace. Walk away from noise that doesn't serve you. And if you know this is the life you want to live, stay here with me. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it. Because the world doesn't just need more voices. It needs more people who know when to be still. It needs more people who lead by presence, not by volume. This is not the end. It's only the beginning of what you are capable of. And from here we keep walking forward. Together.